The phrase, "don't be evil," has been ingrained in Google's corporate culture since its founding more than 2 decades ago. Officials say they've followed this creed in providing users unbiased access to information, and it extends to basic ethical behavior like treating coworkers fairly and following the law. But longtime employees say the company they helped build has strayed. So they're banding together to help the search giant rediscover its moral north.
It is time for workers to stand up and say, we are not going to just do work blindly anymore. We want to be involved in deciding what the values of our company are and how those are followed.
Chewy Shaw is part of the newly formed Alphabet Workers Union. It's made up of just 400 of the 120,000 workers at Google and parent Alphabet. The group's size gives it little leverage in contract negotiations, but Google employees already get industry-leading paychecks, so the group's main goal will be to give structure to activism within the company.
We can, from now on, really establish a meaningful way of having a back and forth with the different execs. That isn't just execs responding to each complaint of each individual employee, but where we can actually collect up the different opinions of different employees, pull them together into a plan.
In 2018, 20,000 employees staged a walkout over the firm's handling of sexual harassment cases. Workers have also rallied against the development of artificial intelligence for the US government and plans to create a watered-down search engine to satisfy Chinese censors. In a statement, Google management says it has no plans to engage with the new union.
Our employees have protected labor rights that we support, but as we've always done, we'll continue engaging directly with all our employees.
AWU has opened membership to everyone who works at Google, including temporary employees and contractors. As more people join, the union hopes its voice will grow too loud for management to ignore. Paolo Montecillo, TRT World.
Well, for more, let's go to Bob O'Donnell. He's the founder and chief analyst at TECH-nalysis Research in Foster City, California. Welcome back to the program, Bob. Now, representatives of the new Alphabet Workers Union have called this a first not only for the Google parent company, but for the big tech sector as a whole. Why has it taken so long for workers to unionize at one of these big tech firms?
Well, I think the issue is the fact that, as you pointed out in that segment, I mean, these are extraordinarily well-paid people. And when you think traditionally about unions, excuse me, they typically come up in organizations where pay issues are much more challenging and where worker environments are much more challenging. I mean, it's pretty nice to work at Google in a lot of cases. But the other issue that you have to think about is that tech in general, as we've seen, especially over the last year, has been facing a lot of questions here in the US and frankly around the world about the influence that it's had, because these tech companies have grown extremely powerful. They've done very well throughout the pandemic because the services and products they enable are extremely important. And so when you get companies of that size, all of a sudden they have a larger influence on society. So I think this is an effort, frankly, to try and adjust the way that people think about Google. Now, because it's so small, I think they're going to face some serious challenges, quite honestly, and I'm not sure how effective it's going to be. But I think it's sort of almost a psychological, philosophical statement about how certain people in the tech industry would like to see things evolve. Not everybody's going to take them seriously, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, the timing of this announcement is interesting because we know unemployment both in the United States and around the world is at record highs because of this pandemic. But even still, it is quite a brave move for these workers to unionize. But looking at the numbers, just 227 workers out of Alphabet's 132,000 strong employee base have signed up to the union so far. Do you expect other workers to join them? And how will the company respond? Do you think they'll actively try to discourage or even crush any sort of a union movement in the company?
Well, I've already seen reports this morning suggesting that the numbers have already gone up to over 400 people. So clearly, as the news gets out, I think they're going to get some additional people. However, I'm not convinced there's enough people who are interested in joining to make a significant difference. And because of that, I am not convinced the company is going to do much with them. We'll see. I mean, I certainly could be wrong, but there are a lot of other issues that people, of course, are worried about. And the beauty of the tech industry is if you don't like a particular company, you can go to another tech company, and people who have very specific skills are very highly valued and can move from place to place. So some people would argue, hey, if you don't like it there, then go to a different company. And I mean, we've seen that with Facebook too, a number of people leaving Facebook because they don't like what that company is doing. So this is a different type of approach. There have been a few smaller tech companies that have also tried to do unionization, and again, they've had modest to almost no impact in those companies. But this is a bigger deal because it is Google, and that's why it's getting a lot of attention. I think it's more of a curiosity at this point than anything else.
Okay, we'll see if the union movement gets any traction, any further traction, I should say. Bob O'Donnell, thank you so much again for joining us.